afternoon. Welcome to BioBoosterGaming. It's your boy Big Bio. And you know we're back into some survivalist invisible strain. Bio. Booster. Gaming. We got E-Man in the building. You know what I mean? Ooh-wee. What's up, guys? That's a good, good way to start it up. You know what I mean? I was all lazy with it, but then E-Man got me, got me paying attention. Stand firm. You know what I mean? So what's up? We're in Survivalist Invisible Strain. Hopefully you're having a good day. Shout out to Francis Riley on YouTube. You're the reason why I'm doing this stream right now. Francis had a little request for a video where I sort of, give you guys a window into my thought process as to why I'm doing certain things and why I'm making certain selections, and just a general guide or hints, tips and tricks, random bits that I might be thinking about when I start a new playthrough. So Francis Riley and everyone else on YT, thank you for the support, and this one is for you guys. I got about an hour today. I figure that's just enough time to do a stream like this, and I've never done anything like this before except for like Monster Hunter, so let's give it a go. I'm sort of just gonna load up a new save, maybe jump into one of my old save and speak about some certain things that I think might be important, yeah, so that's the sort of vibe theme. It's just a quick pop-up stream, and we're just gonna do a little rundown on a survivalist state of mind, so strap in. E-Man, thanks for the hype. Let me dance with you, bro. I always gotta dance with you. Number one mod in the building. Number two mod. Gotta still holds down the number one mod spot. All right, so let's. So what do I want to do with Invisible Strain? The first thing, as you know, survival game. You're pretty much looking at a little State of Decay, a little Project Zomboid type vibe, a little DayZ, you know what I mean? Any survival game, zombie survival game you could think of. The zombie outbreak is like 10 years ago. There's a whole story mode that you can go into, and it's gonna help you understand the mechanics, and help you, guide you as far as crafting and things, as far as the social dynamics. You got to speak to people, you got to build relationships and all that sort of stuff. So the story mode is great for that. But the game is really built on a sandbox premise. The story mode was added a lot later. The game's been in development for a long time. It was in early access for over 5 years. And most of that time was strictly sandbox. The story mode was just added, and I'm a person, I feel like the sandbox is where this game really shines. You have multiplayer and single player in both story mode and sandbox, so you're not limited in single player in the story mode. You can also have a multiplayer story mode, from what I understand. I've never done it, but sandbox I find is where this game really shines, and anything we talk about today is going to be relevant in either sandbox or story mode. It's just pretty much just general things I've learned as I've played through both modes of the game. All right, so Envy, what's up? See, I called great mods, and you showed up, Envy. I called great mods, and you showed up, Envy. What's up, my brother? How are you doing today? How's the little man doing? I wish I could see him right now. Little man's getting big now. I can imagine he's probably getting big right now. You know what I mean? Imagine if you were trying to survive right now during a zombie apocalypse with a young baby, guys. You know what I mean? Envy would be out there hunting every day. He'd be scavenging every vending machine. You know what I mean? He'd be out there with a bottle of water, like in the river. Just Envy would be doing everything to survive right now. You know what I mean? So thanks for being here, Envy. So this is what I usually think about when I'm starting a new playthrough, right? So the first thing I do is I go to the world, because all the other things, your equipment, your skills, and all that is going to sort of change depending on what world settings you do. So I like to start off with the world, right? The game is typically going to start you off in the winter, which I don't like, but you can change it. So we can go any time of the year, spring, winter, summer. And as you can see, the gear is changing in our character here. And that's what I want to show you. So like right now, it's midsummer. So if I go to equipment or skills, or equipment, let's go to equipment. The game is going to give me a certain amount of points for my clothes and equipment based on the season that we're in. So right now we're in summer, we're going to get a certain amount of points. If we were to go to winter, the game is going to give us more points because we would need more gear, like more clothing, right? So that's what that whole season is going to affect. It's going to affect the clothes, how much points you're going to have for clothing and stuff like that. I always like to start in the spring, early spring, just to give myself more time before I hit winter. But it's up to you where you want to start. Same thing with start of the hour of the day. I like to start at 0 just to give myself more time in the day, but that's up to you. The game's just going to start you. There's a day and night cycle. There's a weather cycle. Wind matters. All those things matter. You can get sick. You can get cold. You can get wet. So these are all things you have to keep in mind, right? I'm pretty much trying to buy time, right? Map size, the game's going to start you on large. When I first started out, I like to go to medium. I think small is a little too small, and tiny is just, there's no room. There's just no room, right? So you may want to think about changing the size of the map when you start off, and this is where you can do that. Difficulty, again, you can play around with difficulty here. And then these are all just variables that you can change to make the game either easier or harder to customize the experience for yourself. The only thing I would want to draw out here is saving. You have the options in order to save the game, there's these crucifixes, these crosses. And if you don't have a cross, you can't save the game, which adds a whole amazing dynamic to this game. You're literally praying for your life when you save the game. You are literally praying for your life. And if you don't have a crucifix, you can't save. So save token requires, that's what that's referring to. It's referring to the fact that if you require save tokens, which are crucifixes, in order to save the game. You can only save the game if you have them. Friendly fire splash damage, simple. You're going to have the ability to recruit other players, and there's a multiplayer element, and this just controls friendly fire splash damage. I like to turn that down because there's enough things, you know what I mean, being thrown at you that you don't need to worry about hitting your friend accidentally. You know what I mean? But that's what that is. So save token required for savings, it's typically on. You can take that off, and then you have the ability to freely save. Okay? This controls whether traders in the game will have save tokens for you to buy, which if you're gonna run with save tokens, I would suggest you have that option just so you're not relying on just scavenging save tokens in order to save, right? So those are the things I like to look at first before I even start the game. I look at the world, set up my world, and once I'm happy with my world is when I now go back and I worry about everything else. So now gender doesn't matter, male, female, it's up to you. Name doesn't matter, that's up to you. Community name is going to be the name when you build your camp, you start your settlement, that's going to be what your team is going to be referred to, right? Ugly gorillas, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? If you're going to be a monkey, be a gorilla. No chimpanzees allowed. That's what I say. You know what I mean? Age, just going to affect how your avatar looks. Skin color, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Hair, you know, all that. If you want to see your hair, then you got to take off your hat. So let's do that. Let's take off our hat right now, and we'll go back to our finals. So hair and clothes. So this is something that people don't realize when they start. The game will start you with clothes, but you can change the clothes that you have. You can. I don't want these boots. You know what I mean? Like, you can change the clothes that they start you off with. Just go over to it, click it. The bottom controls the color. It's confusing, I know. But the bottom option controls the color of the apparel that you're wearing. So see? That's all this does. It controls the color of the apparel. It's so confusing. Now up here, you see, I have 8 points in clothes. Let's remember that, okay? I have 8 points in clothes. I've just stripped her naked. She has nothing on her. I've taken off all the clothes. So to start, I have 8 points in clothes. Let's go back to world, right? So this is early spring. So let's see how that changes. If we change what time? Let's see if that's actually true. So let's go to late winter. Let's go back here. Let's see if that changes. So see how it changed everything? It put clothes back on her. It put everything because I changed the season. So I would have to go back now and take this off. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying about setting this up, because as you play around, you might set up your character, but then you come here and you change the season, and now all your presets have just been changed. So that's why I like to change this first, right? So let's put it back to where we want it, early spring, and then let's get rid of the clothes. Get rid of the clothes. We don't want any clothes to start off with, okay? So let's go back to our Megan Pace, the ugly gorillas, even though she's kind of cute. She's a cute gorilla in the crew. She's the only crew gorilla. Let's give her a hairstyle. It's not going to really matter. Actually, apparently it does matter. There we go. I like my short hair, guys. I'm sorry. I like my short hair. Height and weight. I'm not sure if... Wow, breast size matters. I did not know that. I've never had a female character before. I don't know if height and weight matter as far as your speed and as far as your hitbox. So if someone knows, let me know. But I'm not sure if that matters. So then the next thing, you can change your face settings and all that if you want to get in depth. But this is what I want to talk about here, is your equipment, your clothing. So the things you want to look at here is the baseball cap and the cowboy hat. The reason why these two are so important, they're going to increase your sight by +5. When you get into the game, you have the haze of the fog. You could only see as far as you can see. Everything else is going to be blocked by the fog. So you want to give yourself more sight, more vantage point, right? So the baseball cap is going to give you a +5, which is absolutely huge. And it's going to give you that at the cost of 1 point. The cowboy hat is also going to give you +5 sight at the cost of 1 point. So it's up to you. The military cap, same thing. +5 sight, 1 point. So when you start a new game, I would suggest you always start off with one of these 3 hats. The beanie is going to give you insulation, which me personally don't think is a priority at the beginning. Maybe if you start in the winter, it's a priority, but I always think sight is gonna trump insulation, because I can always mitigate insulation through my clothing, right? So I would suggest always starting with one of the 3 hats. Now, I like the baseball cap because it's only 0.5 pounds. So if you see the weight there, you see it's 0.5 pounds for the baseball cap, as opposed to the cowboy hat, which is going to cost you 2 pounds, and the military cap, which is going to cost you 1 pound. And if you could look there, you see that you're limited at 34 pounds. So I would rather get the benefit of +5 sight at the lowest weight value, which is the baseball cap. That's why I choose it. Now, as you go through the game, you're gonna run into traders, and as you trade with the traders, the more loot you give the traders, it's gonna increase the traders' stock. And then the traders are gonna have different versions of these hats and apparel, so keep your eye out for that. The best version of gear that you're gonna get is gonna be from the raiders. There's gonna be, when you build your camp and when you're walking around the map, you're gonna be attacked by zombies and you're gonna be attacked by other humans, which are gonna be raiders. Those guys, when you kill them, they have the best gear in the game. So you want to be killing raiders just for their gear, right? So for instance, this cowboy hat, if you kill a raider and he has the cowboy hat, his is gonna have +5 sight and +1 sneak. They also have a camo hat, +5 sight, +1 sneak. They have the cargo pants that will give you sneak as well. You know what I mean? So the raiders are gonna have that really good gear that you're looking for. So you want to be prioritizing taking raiders out if you see raiders. Like I know you want to run from the raider, and they're well armed. You got to pick and choose your battles. But if you can take a raider out, take a raider out, because they'll have bulletproof vests. They'll have armor, leg armor. They'll have combat helmets. They'll have all these. They'll have guns. They'll have ammo. So you really want to prioritize taking a raider out. The other piece of equipment here, the reason why we stripped her naked, is because the other piece of equipment I want to run with here is sunglasses. Same reason as the hat, I want the extra sight. Sunglasses are always going to give you +1 sight. You can have shades or sunglasses. They both have the same weight, so it really doesn't matter there. That's your first 2 points. You now have 6 points left. But I suggest your first 2 points always goes into a hat with sight and sunglasses with sight. We now have +6 sight. We can see further. You're now looking at gear. These gear all have different insulation and point values. So 3 points to the insulation and weight values, right? I'm a stickler for weight, right? I'm looking at weight versus insulation here. I'm not looking at the cost, the coin value. I couldn't care less about that. So for me personally, the best bang for the buck you're looking at here is trench coat, which is going to give you 4 insulation for 4 points, but it's 10 pounds, right? I'm a fan of the padded jacket in real life and in the game. If you see me in real life, you're going to see me in a hoodie and a vest. That's how I live, right? So I'm getting 4 insulation here at 4 pounds at the same 4 points. There's no other way you get 4 insulation, right? So it's 6 less pounds and you're still getting 4 insulation. So I always go with the padded vest. You can play around with your color scheme here. It's up to you how you want it. But I always go with the padded vest because I don't see any other piece of clothing that can give you this for 4 points. Like, boom. We're now down to 2 points, right? Now we're going to have to go cheap, right? We're going to have to go cheap because we spent all of our points on sunglasses and the hat and the vest, right? So now we're gonna have to take the cheapest pants, which are gonna be the slacks. You have the slacks and the combat pants. Combat pants are gonna be 2 pounds for 2 insulation at 2 points. Slacks are gonna be 1 point, 1 insulation at 2 pounds, right? Now remember, we chose spring, so we're not really worried about being cold, right? We're already well insulated. We have 4 points of insulation from the jacket alone, right? So we'll take the slacks. We now have 5 points of insulation. As you can see, it moved up. We can choose the color of our slacks. Right? It's up to you. And now we're gonna take the choice for shoes are gonna be combat boots, and you have buckled boots. The only difference is insulation. We only have 1 point at this point, so we can only take the buckled boots. Now, why don't I care about my pants and my boots? The reason being is because every zombie we come across in the game will be able to loot them. Every zombie has clothes. Every human being has clothes. So we will always be able to find pants, shirts, and shoes on every person that we loot. So that's not even a concern, right? Infected their clothing aren't infected, so we don't have to worry about picking up an infected person's clothing and being infected ourselves. So we're gonna be able to replace our shoes and our pants almost instantly once we get into the game. The jacket though matters because though we will come across a lot of upper body gear, it's gonna be hard to come across something as good as 4 insulation. 4 pounds, right? So we want to prioritize that. So boom. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for when I'm setting up my character. So here we got our first ugly gorilla in the building, right? So, and I'm not talking about Envy or E-Man. I'm talking about her. So now, the next thing you want to look at is equipment, right? So the same thing with what we did, and I'm sorry if I'm flying through this, guys, but I already got about an hour here. So, is I want to take away everything that the game gives me. Right? So the game has given me a machete and a Molotov cocktail. Every time you start up a new game, they're gonna give you random stuff. Like I could start the game over right now and it might give me a knife and a flint. I could start it one more time and it might give me a shovel and matches. it's going to be random every time. So don't look at what the game is giving you as like, oh, I should carry this. No, it's going to be random every time. Now, up here, you have the option of choosing a certain, maybe you have a certain play style. So if you want to be an archer, you can choose an archer loadout. The game is going to give you a bow and arrow and some arrows. A bow and some arrows. You can choose a trapper loadout. It's going to give you an axe and a shovel. You can choose a fighter loadout. You're going to get the machete, and a Molotov. You could choose an assassin loadout. It's going to give you the knife, radio, and some rabbit, right? I like custom. Oh gosh. Okay, so I just did a mistake, and I'm going to show you guys what's going to happen when you do this. If you ever go back, you lose everything. So look, I've lost everything. You're going to have to redo everything. So that's just something a frustration you'll learn from this game is don't ever go back out the menu because you lose every single thing once you do that. So that's actually good that happened, because I remember when I first started playing this game, it was the absolute worst. It would take like a half an hour to create a character because you'd accidentally go back by accident, and it would be like, no, I just lost everything. So I've become a pro at restarting a character. So we're gonna save everything that we just did. I'm not gonna change my character the way they look because it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna change my clothes. We're just gonna put back on what we had before. And boom, we're right back to where we were. And boom. So now, equipment. I'm gonna get rid of what the game gives me because this is just random, absolutely random, right? So now, what are we seeing here? We're gonna make a custom loadout. We have 4 points to work with, and they're showing us our weight now minus our clothing. See our insulation there? Right now we're rocking 6 insulation because of the clothing that we have. We're getting 4 insulation from our jacket, 1 insulation each from our boots and our pants. So we're gonna go through everything here, and I'm gonna tell you why I like certain things and why I don't. I am not the authority. I've been playing this game for a week, but I'm gonna tell you why I like certain things and why I don't like certain things. Axe. Axe is awesome to start the game with. You can use the axe as a weapon, and you could use the axe to chop down trees. Huge. You can start a fire right away, which is one of the first things you're going to want to be doing once you get out into the open world. The open world is going to be procedurally generated. So every time you start a game, it's going to be a new map. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get the same map every time. If you choose medium, tiny, large, it's not going to be a default map. It's procedurally generated every time. Settlements are going to be in different locations. Towns are going to be in different locations. That gas station that you like, that you built your base at last save, it's not there this time. You know what I mean? So it's going to be random every single time. Also, another thing to remember about the map is the map isn't just the map. You are not constrained to the map that you start on. So when you get in the game, there's cars. You'll come across cars. And if you go to a car with a toolbox, it'll tell you that you can repair the car. And it'll tell you how many car parts you need. Car parts are spread around the game, and you can scavenge car parts. You typically need about 5 to 8 car parts, depending on the car. A smaller car, you're going to need about 5 parts to fix it. If you're trying to fix a Humvee, you need about 8 car parts to fix that. And once you fix a car and you get gas in that car, you can literally drive off the map and into a new map, which is insane. So keep that in mind. So when you fix a car, the car actually allows you to go past the map that you're in, and then you would then open up to a new area. Okay, so keep that in mind. A car is just not to run zombies over or just to traverse a larger map. You can actually leave the map, from what I understand. I've never done it yet though, so let me know if you've done that. So the axe is a great tool to start off with. You do 42 damage, which is huge. And the 2 meters is huge. Not much things give you range. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, for instance, the axe gives you 2 meters, but look at the shovel. The shovel is 2.3. You would think the shovel would give you a little bit more range than that, but it doesn't. The knife gives you 1.5 range, right? So that's going to determine how close you need to be to a zombie, right? The hunting knife, again, at 1 point is a steal. The damage is really low, But fatigue is great. It's only 6%, which means you can use that, you can swing that knife a lot more, right? The other thing that's great about the knife is if you have a flint, you can always start a fire. With a flint is not one use. You can keep using a flint. And as long as you have a knife, you can always start a fire with these two things. So a great setup could be this, right? To start you off, right? A knife and a flint, and then you still have 2 points to do with as you please, right? A shovel is great. I like a shovel. Shovel is great because I get great range. The fatigue is painful, 11%, but the damage at 35% means that I don't have to swing as often, right? I can get, you know, I can kill most things with 3 swings, right? So I like the shovel. Other great thing to a shovel is you can dig holes. Holes are great for making traps. You could make a well. These things are all determined by your construction skill level. So not just the fact that I have a shovel. Like, it's great that I have a shovel, but my construction skill has to complement that piece of equipment, right? To allow me to do further things with it. So axe, knife, and shovel, all great things for 1 point. Machete, 3 points. Not a fan of this because it's just a weapon. Yes, it does 84% damage, but it's just a weapon. You can't do any utility with the machete. Even if I have a flint, I can't start a fire, right? I can't skin. With the knife, I can skin a rabbit. I could skin a deer. If I kill a zombie, I could skin a zombie. Why do I want to skin a zombie? If I skin a zombie, I can use the carcass, the carcass of the zombie as essentially a diversion, a distraction. So you have you can throw it like a grenade, and the zombies, if I'm getting chased by like 10 zombies or 6 zombies, I can throw that piece of skinned zombie that I have, and it will lure, all the zombies will go towards it, and then I can escape. So that's why you want to skin a zombie, right? Bow. Okay. Let's talk about the bow. Everyone loves the bow. Everyone wants to use the bow. And it is great. But here's the thing. It's 2 points for the bow. Right? Now look at this. 2 points. I'm down to 2 points, right? And it's 4 pounds, right? As opposed to a shovel, 6 pounds. A knife, 1 pound. Axe, 6, which doesn't make sense. An axe is the same weight as a shovel, but the knife is huge because of that 1 pound and the utility. 1 pound, 1 point. 2 uses. Huge. Well, 3 uses, right? The bow here, I'm looking at 4 pounds, 2 points. Insane. Now, I have to get arrows, right? What good is a bow without arrows? That's 3 points you've just invested in a weapon. You only have 1 point left. So as great as the bow sounds, right, and it's only doing 20 points of damage, so you have to hit something with 5 arrows. You know what I mean? So I'm not a fan of the bow. If you're an archer, you like the bow, more power to you. But at 3 points to equip this, I think it's insane, absolutely insane. A gun, 2 points, not a fan. Again, you're gonna need ammo, right? So it's not 2 points. It's really 3 points, right? Molotov cocktail, again, great 1 point. We know what a Molotov cocktail and a pipe bomb does, but to start out the playthrough, no. I think these are things better off crafted if you survive long enough to do that. A backpack. It's gonna cost us 2 points. This just changes the color, similar to apparel. It's gonna cost us 2 points. This is probably the best use of 2 points out of anything. We're gonna need a starting backpack. If you're brave, you can go out there without a backpack and hope to find one, but you can literally go a really long time without finding a backpack, or you can find a backpack in the first building that you come across, right? I don't depend on that, and even if I find another backpack, it can be used for someone I recruit, right? So you can never have too many backpacks. So I think this is the best use of 2 points. We're gonna lock a backpack in, right? Flint, again, great use for 1 point. But you can find flints. We can trade for flints. And a flint is essentially a piece of rock. And as you go through the map, you can find flints on the ground. Just look for them. They don't pop out to you. Typically when you're running around and you're scavenging, you're gonna go to buildings, you're gonna go to cars, you're gonna go to things like that, and you're not gonna really think to look on the ground at rocks. And if you do that, you will see that there's actually flints littered across the map. So not a great use of a point. Matches, carrots. This is interesting here. It's 1 point. You get 5 carrots, okay? You get 5 carrots for 1 point. Why this is an interesting choice is because food, it's luck of the draw. You might come across food, or you may not find food for a really long time, depending on how your playthrough starts. So to have food in your pocket is good. You may make different choices. You may not feel like you're forced to make that risk if you know what I mean? At least you could make it 1 or 2 days. You know what I mean? I got some carrots. You know what I mean? Other thing that's good, I'm a firm believer in two uses of something, right? You can use the carrot if you're lucky enough, you can find string and you can find a bucket. And if you find that early enough, you can then use that with a carrot to make rabbit traps. Rabbit traps are huge. Rabbit traps it's better than hunting. You know what I mean? You don't need arrows. You don't need a bow. You can make a rabbit trap. You can catch a rabbit. You can take that rabbit out and put another piece of carrot and restock that trap, right? So carrot seems, you might say, no, I don't want to take it, but it's pretty good for a point. You have carrots can last you for a few days, and if you make a trap, it could really be huge. So think about the carrot. It's only 1 point. We've already talked about ammunition. Gold you do not need. Gold is something that you will easily get in the game. Matches are interesting. Matches are something you'll be able to loot. Matches are something you'll be able to trade for. 10 matches at 1 point, though, I'm not going to argue with you if you took it. You know what I mean? Now here, the Crucifix is what I was talking about earlier, where you're praying for your life. This is how you save the game if you chose that game mode. If you chose that game mode, this is an automatic 1 point. Because you can't start the game without the ability to save. And you can't depend on looting a pendant. Like you can't depend on that. Like you can't. So if you did that game mode, this is an automatic 1 point. And the backpack's an automatic 2 points. So you're really down to 1 point at that point. And that's up to you how you want to use that last point. So now we have a tent. Tents are great. Tents ensure that you have somewhere to sleep and you have somewhere to lay your head, regardless of where you spawn in. You could throw a tent down. You don't need construction skill. You don't need to be able to build nothing. You don't need an axe. You don't need wood. You don't need nothing. You have a tent. You have a home sweet home, somewhere to lay your head regardless, because fatigue is a thing. Your character's gonna need to eat. Your character's gonna need to sleep. And your character's gonna need to stay hydrated. Hydrated can be in the form of water, or it could be in the form of alcohol. If it's alcohol, then you can get intoxicated. Right? So, but alcohol is also good because you know how you feel after you take a swig. You feel good. You feel like you can take out any zombie, right? So these are things you got to take in mind. But the sleep thing is, the tent is good for that. Now, here's why I say you don't need a tent. After I just said why a tent's good, you can sleep anywhere. You can sleep in a car. You can sleep in a gas station. Any building you can sleep in. Any vehicle you can sleep in. So do you need a tent? No. You know what I mean? You can sleep anywhere. It's the apocalypse. You don't need a tent. You know what I mean? If there's a Honda Civic at the side of the road, then the Honda Civic is your tent for the night. You're going to be moving constantly. So you don't need to put down a tent, right? So that's my thoughts on a tent. Radio. Radio is great, but 2 points, not realistic. But if you find a radio It's only £1, so always pick up a radio if you find a radio. You can use a radio as a weapon, but that's not why you want a radio. You want a radio is because on your mini-map or on your map, once you get into the game, the radio is gonna show you points of interest on the map. So you only see that if you have the radio. Now, once you get the radio, you don't have to keep carrying the radio around. If you have a settlement or a tent, you could just put that in storage, and it's gonna always show you on the map what's happening. Points of interest will let you know where settlements are. They'll let you know where refugees are, which are important because refugees are a good way for you to find recruits, increase the size of your settlement. You can recruit raiders as well too. Points of interest will let you know if there's a zombie horde coming your way. Little things like that, right? So a radio is huge. You want to have a radio. You may not want it in the beginning, but you want a radio. Skinned rabbit, nice, but only good if you have a fire. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't suggest it. If you're gonna choose food, I would say take the carrot. Antigens. Okay, bandages, self-explanatory bandages. I don't think you need them. In the beginning of the game, you can take clothing that you get from zombies that you loot, and you can cut it up, and you can turn them into rags. Rags will be like in DayZ. A rag will be a bootleg bandage. So you get injured, you can put a rag on you, and it's gonna stop the bleeding, but it's not gonna heal you. Right? Now, a bandage mixed with vodka will sterilize the bandage. A rag mixed with vodka will sterilize the rag and turn it into a bandage. Now, a bandage will heal you. Slowly over time, that wound that you have will slowly get healed. Your little red bar is going to slowly go. You're going to think it's not working, but it's slowly going to go away. You're going to need a bandage or a rag for every wound you sustain. So your character is going to take different wounds. You might get hit in the leg, you might get hit in the face, you might get hit in the body. Your character, when we get in the game, I'll show you. Your character icon will be at the bottom, and where you get wounded, you'll see an X, right? And you need to put a bandage on every X, or else you're going to keep bleeding, right? Out. A rag will just stop the bleeding, but a bandage will start healing it. Now, you don't need a bandage in the beginning. Maybe you want one if you're worried. But again, rags will stop the bleeding. You could probably loot vodka at some point. Wine does not work. You cannot sterilize with wine, but you can drink wine, and wine will increase your robustness, your constitution. Your guy will benefit from drinking the wine. But vodka is what we're using to create bandages and to sterilize wounds. Now, antigens. You can choose to start the game with either a green strain or a blue strain antigen. That's up to you. It's only 1 point. How antigens work, or how zombies work in the game are, the zombies come in different strains, different lethality, right? So a green strain is the most basic zombie. It's the first zombie you're gonna see when you spawn into a map. Green strain zombies are pretty slow moving, and when you fight, we'll talk about fighting and skills actually, but when you see a green strain zombie, it's not really a threat, right? You can sneak past them, or you can engage in combat with them. You know what I mean? Even if you have no weapon, you can punch a green strain zombie to death, right? If you get bitten by a green strain zombie, you have about, I want to say 20 minutes before you die, right? When you get bitten, there's going to be a bar that comes on the opposite side of your character, and that bar is going to be going down, pretty much counting down to how much time you have to put an antigen into your character, right? You're going to have to, equip it and use it, right? Just like a bandage, equip it and use it, right? Just like a tent, equip it, you have to equip it, right? So that's the green strain, right? Now, a green strain is not really a threat. You might find green strain antigens. They're usually available at traders, and you could roughly find them littered, scattered around the world. And you have about 20 minutes to about a half an hour before you die. Blue strain antigens, and blue strain infected are more lethal. They're going to be a little quicker. They're going to be a little harder to take down. They're going to be do more damage to you, right? So these guys, you're going to have to hit them in the head. You're going to have to hit them in the upper body. When you fight a zombie, you're going to want to hit them in the legs to slow them down. And a green strain guy, you can hit him anywhere. You're going to damage him. But then as they get stronger, you're going to have to hit them in the head to kill them. All right? So keep that in mind. You get bitten by a blue strain zombie, you have about 10-15 minutes, roughly, before you die. Now, what's not shown here, there's 2 other strains of zombies. Okay? Blue strains, again, it's a threat, but like it's not. You can survive. Like I would set a settlement up in a blue strain zombie town. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't be that worried. You know what I mean? But now you have red strains, which aren't shown here, and red strains are a problem. Red strain zombies are absolutely lethal. They'll spot you in a second. If there's one red strain zombie, if they're like cockroaches. If you see a red strain zombie, there's 10 other red strain zombies that you don't see in the fog. I'm guaranteeing, if you fight a red strain zombie and you kill him, be prepared. Don't go scavenging. Don't kill him and be like, let's see what loot he's got. No. Look, duck, crouch, stealth. Like, there's more. Because they're going to hear you fighting him. If you have a gun and you shoot, zombies will hear that. It's like DayZ. And more zombies are already on their way to you. Okay? If you have a bow and arrow, it's silent. You can kill all day. No one's going to hear you. They might see you, but they're not going to hear you. But if you have a gun, they're going to hear you. If you have an axe or a shovel, as you smash them and they're screaming, other zombies are going to hear you. And they're coming. Red strain zombies are a problem. Good luck finding a red strain antigen. Those things are gold. Those things are rare as day. So when you find a red strain, keep it on you in your inventory. Why? Because you don't have time. You get bitten by a red strain zombie, you have minutes. You have like 3 to 5 minutes before that bar goes down and you're done. You're dead. Your character will just drop. Done. Game done. That's it. Right? So Crucifix is not going to help you. Right, so red strain is a problem. If you find a red strain antigen, keep it on you, on your person. There's another strain of zombies, which is the white strain of zombies. I don't know what to tell you about the white strain of zombies, except if you see a white strain, don't engage. Unless you are equipped to engage a white strain zombie. They're never alone. If you get bitten by a white strain zombie, there is no antigen. There's no trader that has an antigen. There's no teammate that has an antigen. You're just dead. Not only are you dead, you're dead in seconds. Even if there was an antigen, you wouldn't have time to go in the menu, select it, and equip it, and use it. You'd be dead. You literally, a white strain bites you, your guy dies. So those are the 4 levels of zombies. You have green strain, blue strain, red strain, and white strain. Avoid white strain zombies unless you're ready for white. I fight white strain zombies, but I am afraid every time. Because it's never 1. It'll be like 30. Toolbox is huge. Toolbox is great, but I don't know if you want to start the game with a toolbox at 2 points and 10 pounds. But when you find a toolbox, once you get in the game, it now becomes the most important thing that you have on you. If you have to drop other items to take the toolbox, you do that. Because you need a toolbox to start a settlement. You can't build anything of substance without a toolbox. So once you get in the game, you need a toolbox. So that's my rundown on equipment. So we have 1 point here. The backpack, like I said, is huge. We did choose a save world, Crucifix save, so I'm taking a Crucifix. And I need a weapon of some sort. So I'm going to take the knife because it's either the knife, axe, or shovel. Because they have dual utility, right? So any of these 3. I'm gonna take the knife because I want the ability to skin animals or zombies. Now let's talk about skills. How much time do I have right now? Dr. K, what's up? Sorry, Dr. K. I'm in exclamation mode. So thanks for being here, Dr. K. So skills. Same with equipment and clothing. We're gonna take away. The game is gonna start you with certain skills. In this instance, they started us with fitness, hand-to-hand, stealth, and constitution. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna minus everything, and let's get our guy at 0. So to start off, you're gonna have 10 skill points. Just like equipment, you're gonna have the choice to do loadouts. So if you want assassin, fighter, trapper, archer, the game is gonna give you the skills associated with those different classes, right? Boom, right? But we're gonna go custom, right? Or I like to go custom. All right, for the sake of this guide, we're gonna go custom and just speak on why I like certain things and why I don't like certain things, right? So we have 10 points to work with, right? So now, probably the most important skill that you're gonna have in the game is gonna be fitness. And fitness is how quickly you get tired when you're running. It's your stamina, all that good stuff, right? When you're swinging, all that good stuff. How much loot you can carry, all that good stuff, right? So fitness is huge. You always have to, I would say, have 1 point in fitness. When you start out, you won't be able to do anything without a point in fitness. Hand to hand is going to be obviously how much damage you do when you're fighting with your melee weapons, which is going to be primarily how you're going to do like 90% of your fighting with a melee weapon, right? So you're going to want something in hand to hand. Archery, whether or not you chose to walk with a bow to start your playthrough, you're gonna want to have at least 1 point in archery. And the reason why you're gonna want to have 1 point in archery is that once you do find a bow, whether you craft it, whether you buy it, whether you loot it, whatever, once you have a bow, unless you have 1 point in archery, you won't be able to aim. So when zombies attack you, you can aim, provided you have a point, at least 1 star. In firearms, same thing works for firearms. This same philosophy works for firearms. If you have 1 point, you're able to aim at the body part that you want to hit. So you have the choice of head, torso, legs, right? And with 1 star, you're able to at least choose where you want to aim, right? If you don't have 1 star, you can't do that. And you're only able to hit the biggest mass, right? So, and again, if you're fighting certain zombies, red strains or like a white strain, hitting them in the chest isn't gonna kill them, right? So, you need at least 1 point in archery, regardless of whether you have a bow or not, to be able to aim your bow. Same thing with firearms. If you want to aim your gun, you need at least 1 point in firearm. Stealth is how easily you're going to be spotted by animals, humans, and zombies alike, right? So, and again, your clothing you can use to amplify this effect. You can find clothing with sneak values. Pay real attention, because sometimes you'll just be, trading, or you'll just be dismantling stuff, and you might not pay attention. So just watch the camouflage gear. Whenever you see gear that has camouflage on it, look at the stats of that gear, because that's typically gear that's good and will provide you with a sneak bonus, right? Typically it comes from a raider. So stealth is really good. I like to always have a point in stealth, right? Stealth, archery, hand to hand. I like to have 2 points in athletics or fitness, because I think the way this game works is the more you do something, the more you're gonna get better at it, right? So the more we run around, the better we'll get at fitness. The problem with that is it's very hard to level up fitness, because you don't really run around a lot in this game. you're gonna spend most of your time walking and sneaking, right? So even though we put 1 point into sneak, we're gonna level up our sneak pretty often because we're gonna be doing a lot of sneaking, right? Fitness, you're not gonna be doing a lot of running. You're typically gonna only run if you're in an area that you've already cleared out and you know is safe, right? And those areas are far and few between. So it's good to have 2 points in fitness to start off with, just because it's gonna take a really long time to level it up to level 3, right? Stealth, on the other hand, I wouldn't go past 1 point, and you don't even have to put a point in stealth, because again, you're gonna be doing so much sneaking that you're gonna level up stealth. Construction is huge. I like to put 1 point in construction because this is gonna give you more options and things that you can do. You can start your settlement up a little bit faster because you can build a few more things. It's good for crafting. You can craft traps faster. You can craft, arrows and all these little things a little bit faster as long as you have a construction skill of 1, right? And your construction skill is gonna move. It's gonna level up pretty good as well too. As you get settled, as you start building things, the more things you build, the more your construction skill is gonna go up, and you're gonna be constantly building things. But it's good to have 1 star to start with, so that you can build those, those basic things to start with. Same thing with farming. Well, farming, that's good, but more or less I would say cooking. Cooking is really powerful to have 1 star in cooking to start with, because even though you're gonna, you may hunt, you may hunt a rabbit, you may hunt a deer, you may buy an egg or a chicken, and you may find corn, or you may get all these different things, but without a cooking skill, at least star of 1, you're limited as far as the recipes you know. You know what I mean? So it's the difference between being able to fry an egg and being stuck with just boiling an egg, right? And the nutritional values are going to range. Like a cooked egg is going to give you way more nutritional value and last you longer than just boiling an egg. Or like corn, you might get corn, or you might have all these ingredients, and depending on how your cooking skill is, you're able to make a more hearty meal that's going to last your survivors a lot longer than us, right? So cooking is huge, right? Constitution, I like to have 2 points in Constitution. Minimum 1 point in Constitution. Now, if you want the second star is going to cost you 2 points, right? So if I go over here, you see, once I took away that second star in fitness, I got back 2 points, right? So the second star is going to cost you 2 points, just so you know. Constitution is huge. You want at least 1 point in Constitution. I would argue that 2 points in Constitution is the way to go. Constitution is going to be like your survivability. Like how well you can take injuries and stuff like that. How long it takes before you collapse after you lose blood. If you have a star in Constitution, when you die, or when you collapse, you won't really die. You'll go unconscious, and there's a chance that someone will come and revive you and wake you up. But if you have no points in Constitution left, then you're just dead, right? So every time you do get knocked unconscious or whatever, you lose a point of Constitution. If you go too long without eating, your Constitution will slowly go down, and you will lose ranking in Constitution if you don't eat. And you go too long without drinking, if you go too long without finding sleep, and stuff like that. So Constitution is something that you really have to manage. And as you eat and as you drink, your Constitution will go up. So you really have to manage Constitution, and because it's such a hard thing to manage, I like to typically run with 2 points in Constitution. For the sake of this, what I would do is I would actually get rid of this point in Sneak for now and give myself 2 points in Constitution, right? I like to have 1 utility skill, so whether cooking or construction, I like to pick 1 and then put that point back into Sneak. You know what I mean? But it's up to you how you want to play around with that. But like I said, you want to have at least 1 point in hand-to-hand, archery, stealth, 2 points in fitness, some sort of utility stat, and you want to have your point, at least 1 point in Constitution. For now, I'm going to take a point out of that and put it into Sneak. Now, personality, the last thing that we want to touch on. How much time do we have? Okay. So, personality. Personality matters because don't ignore personality. Personality matters because there's a huge part of this game is the social dynamics. You're gonna have to befriend other refugees, other settlements. You can talk your way out of conflicts. The whole relationship building and all that stuff is huge. There's relationships as far as you can have a partner. You can have, you can have your spouse or whatever in the game. People get mad at you. People can start off liking you, and depending on decisions you make, they can get mad at you, and you can either win them back or whatever. So depending on what you choose as your personality traits is going to dictate what options you have, what dialogue options pop up with you, with certain characters in certain scenarios, how your character will react, how other characters will react to you. So personality does matter. So it's up to you how you pick it, but just keep in mind that does matter. Also, if people are getting mad at you, a great way to increase the morale of your team, outside of like for instance, like if you have a team, you need to make sure that there's enough accommodations for them. So you need to make sure that there's places where people can sleep. So if you have 4 people in your camp, you need to make sure you have accommodations for at least 4 people. And if you don't, then people might get disgruntled. If you don't have a fire, for instance, if there's not a food supply, people might leave and they'll complain. They might rebel against you, stuff like that, right? And you need to find ways to quell the storm. You know what I mean? You'll come across the skill books in the game, which can increase your skills. So you might find skill books that will increase your archery, your firearms, your cooking, your medicine. So keep an eye out for skill books, and think logically too as well too. Like if you see a bookstore, there'll be books in there. If you see a sporting goods store, chances are you'll find apparel, shoes, stuff like that. If you see a hardware store, you're gonna find axes and maybe pipes and wrenches and shovels and stuff like that. So loot is spread out in a way that makes sense. You know what I mean? So make sure you're checking. If you're looking for specific things, then think about where would that thing realistically be. Like if I'm looking for cement, then maybe I could go to a residence, someone that has a backyard. Maybe that guy probably has something in his shed, or maybe I go to a hardware store, there might be some cement there, right? So just think logically. You know what I mean? Another great thing about the toolbox is that you need the toolbox to dismantle items. That's why the toolbox is huge. So there could be a lot of things that you come across, a lot of like maybe you come across a gas station and there's stuff littered around the gas station. You can go around and actually dismantle it and get resources back. Maybe you're looking for steel. You can dismantle like a shelving at the gas station and you'll get like 2 steel back. So the toolbox is really good for dismantling things as well, at your base and in the open world. So keep that in mind as well. So there's a lot of social dynamic aspect to the game. It's a huge part of the game, just as big as surviving, just as big as crafting, just as big as day and night cycle. So keep that in mind as well, right? If you get wet, go by a fire and to dry yourself off. It's good to have additional sets of clothing so that you can switch into dry clothing, things like that. Like think rationally, right? So again, this is going to determine the different options you have as far as dialogue when you talk to people. If people are mad at you, you can give them, like I was saying, there's skill books you can find. There's also books in the game that you can give to people as presents and to increase your team's morale. You know what I mean? And they'll actually read it. Like you can give someone a book and you'll see, like they'll sit by the campfire and they'll pull out that book that you gave them and they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, I really enjoyed that book. You know what I mean? And like things like that. So There's ways to increase people's morale, and there's ways to get people mad, depending on what choices you do as well too. So I'm always flirty and jealous. So yeah, so keep that in mind. Alcoholic. Again, if you're drinking wine and vodka and things like that, then the bar is gonna go up faster if you are an alcoholic, but you're gonna get your constitution is gonna get a bigger bonus from that as well too. So you just have to manage it a little bit more. So all these things matter, right? Food choices. Again, there's gonna be a lot of recipes and different things you can cook. So it matters what your character's state of mind is, whether they enjoy that meal and how much sustenance they're going to get from that. So there we go. So now we're back at world. We've already set everything up. So let's start a new playthrough. And let me... Oh, I have 1 point of clothes. Hold on. Let's look at that. Oh, let's take our good boots. Oh, because we started over, we don't have the sunglasses on. I was going to say, I shouldn't have a point. I shouldn't have a point. There we go. So let's start up. We'll keep it on. No, it doesn't matter. So this is where every, you could always have it set so that you could have it so that anyone could join your game. And this goes for story mode and sandbox. You can have your friends can join your game. It could be invite only, which is what we're going to do now. Just something to keep in mind is that this isn't locked in. So when we start the game, when you come back, let's say you save it and you come back tomorrow, you're going to always have these options. Every time you load up a new save, you're going to have these options. So you're not locked in. Just because you choose invite only doesn't mean your friends can't join this save the next time you load it up. You're going to always have these options every time you load into your world. Okay? Okay, so we're in a new map. The game's always going to give you the quest to start to find a friendly settlement. Right? Now, you can pause the game, right? So as you can see, I have it paused right now. At the bottom there, you see for me on Xbox, I use the directional pad. I can pause the game. I can speed up the game. I can do whatever I want. So keep that in mind. You can be in your inventory, pause the game. Like, always pause the game when you need to do stuff. Don't be afraid to pause the game. You can speed it up while you're in your inventory. But just keep that in mind. You can pause the game. You got your thirst, hunger, and sleep right there. The bar is going to fill up red as you become thirsty. The bar is going to fill up red as I become hungry. It's not going to really matter till it gets to those notches. So see, hunger is not going to really matter until I get to that first notch underneath the R. Sleep's not going to really matter till I get to maybe the second notch under the I in deprivation. Right? So it's not like if you get thirsty, you're going to need to run and drink something right away. If you get hungry, you go a while with being hungry. But once you get to that first, second notch, you need to find something to eat. Same thing with sleep. You need to find somewhere to sleep once you start hitting that first or second notch. We got our stats there. Those are our stats. The blue bar underneath each, or the white bar underneath, you see it's filling up. If you look at fitness, you see fitness is filling up. It has a little bit of blue. That's letting me know how far I am to getting to the next star in fitness, right? So constitution, as you can see there, my constitution is 2, but my blue bar is it's not full. Now, the longer it takes for me to eat and drink and sleep, that blue bar is gonna slowly start moving down. And if it gets all the way down, then my constitution is gonna go down to 1 star. I'm gonna actually lose a star if that goes all the way down. Okay, so keep stuff like that in mind. Your stats can actually decrease. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if you get a piece of apparel, for instance, that gives you stealth, like I was talking about, you might find a hat or pants that give you stealth. Anything that gives you a boost, you might find a skill book that gives you +1 to farming or anything like that. Anything that gives you a skill boost will be represented as a green star. So if I had a firearm book that gave me +1 to firearms, then my firearm star would be green. I would have 1 green star in firearms, right? Let's say I had a book that gave me +1 to cooking. So now my cooking is 2. The first star would be blue. That's my skill. The second star would be green, the bonus that I'm getting from the book, right? So whenever you're getting a skill increase from some ulterior source, whether it be apparel or a skill book, that will be represented in a green star, okay? Now this is what I was talking about as far as the radio. When you have the radio, so this is the map right now, right? Now you can zoom in, you can zoom out, all that good stuff on the map. This is where we are on the map. Okay? This is us, right? It tells you what we have on us. So in our inventory, we have a hunting knife, a wind-up radio, and a skin rabbit. We can see everything that we have on our inventory just by hovering over our character on the map. The same thing can be said about points of interest that we've seen or things we've seen. So we've seen this car, so we know there's gasoline in it. Right? We've not yet investigated this car, so we don't know what's in it. We have not investigated this, we don't know what's in it, right? So, but as you investigate things on the map and you open up things on the map, you'll be able to hover over it and see what was in that building again? Do I need to go back to that? You know what I mean? You can just hover over it and you'll be able to see it. Now, because we have the radio, we're able to see that there's a trader. We wouldn't be able to see this and this if we didn't have the radio, right? The radio is showing us these two things on the map. They're tuned in. The radio is tuned into these two frequencies. And as we play and as other NPCs come on the map and different things happen, more things will populate the map as provided we have the radio. So things to look out for on the map. If you see this icon, it means refugees are somewhere on the map. Refugees are safe. You can go to them, you can approach them, you can typically recruit them. This, like I said, means there's a trader somewhere on the map. This gives me a hint that there's probably a settlement somewhere around here, and it's probably maybe a friendly settlement, right? There's going to be 2 types of settlements you're going to come across. There's going to be friendly settlements and there's going to be unfriendly settlements. The easiest way I could tell you to know the difference when you're getting up, whenever you go up on a settlement, you're going to see a couple things. You're going to see fire. Typically there's a fire, right? There's probably going to be a fire, so you'll probably see smoke. And that's going to be your first hint that there's a settlement close by. As you get closer to the settlement, the second hint that there's a settlement close by is going to be the music in the game is going to change. Okay? So right now, we have no music, right? If I get to a settlement, the music's gonna change, and if the music sounds sinister, it's a bad settlement. If the music sounds welcoming, I don't know, then it's a friendly settlement. That's an easy way to know. As you get closer to the settlement, or as you get closer, what you'll see is that friendly NPCs will be represented. We're a green dot. See how we're a green dot or a green arrow on the map? Friendly NPCs will be represented with an orange dot, and hostile NPCs will be represented with a red dot. So once you get closer to the settlement, if you see red dots, you know that they're bad. You'll also know because they'll let you know. They'll start shooting at you. If they see you, they'll start, they'll let you know. You know what I mean? So those are things to look out for on the map. This will let you know that there's raiders coming, which will be human beings, bandits, and they're coming. They're also going to be represented by red dots on the map, and that can go any number of ways. You know what I mean? You can engage with them. Again, these are the guys that are going to have the good gear. They're going to have weapons. They're going to have camouflage gear. They're going to have armor. So if you can take them out, that's a good way to quickly gear up, is by taking them out. Other things will pop up on the map as we open it up. But those are just the basic things to look out for. You also have the ability to put a marker on the map. So for instance, you see you have different color markers that you can use, and then you can place them. So I know that there's a trader here. So for instance, I could put a marker here, right? And that lets me know that, hey, down here there's a trader. Maybe I should start heading over there, whatever, right? Now when I go into the game, that marker is going to be represented on my map, right? So on the mini map, we're going to see our immediate surroundings. We're going to see the temperature, which matters. We can get cold, we can get hypothermic. So it's going to give us the temperature of what's outside, and it's also going to give us the wind direction, the direction the wind is blowing, which is represented by that lower arrow in the bottom of the mini map. That matters because animals can smell you. For instance, if you're trying to hunt deer, you're trying to hunt a rabbit, you're gonna want to make sure that the wind isn't blowing in a direction so that it's gonna tip them off that you're coming. So those things all matter. This is what I mean about when you scavenge as well. When you scavenge, for instance, you can sleep anywhere. So if I want, I could scavenge this car and take what's in it, right? If I want, I can scavenge gives you the option to go into the menu, right? I pull up the menu. It's me and the car. I could put stuff in the car, and I could take stuff out of the car. If I put this radio in the car and I put this rabbit in the car, you'll see it's represented on the map, right? The car has the radio and the rabbit. See what I'm saying? I haven't investigated this car yet. The minute I investigate this car, it's going to be on the map. Now I could take all, or I could enter the car, or I could scavenge it. Scavenge it is going to bring up the menu, right? If I just say take, it's going to take whatever's in the car, provided I have room in my inventory. If I enter the car, right? Here we go. Now once you enter, this works for buildings as well. You have the option of how you want to exit. So this car has two. I can either enter on the left or right side. So see, when I exit, I have the choice of how I want to, boom, right? We can pause it. When you pause it, I'm in the inventory of the car, right? Now, the minute you go inside a car, a building, or whatever, if your character wants to sleep or needs to sleep, they're gonna sleep. So as you can see right now, Brian is sleeping. You can see that by the Z's coming off of his head. Now, the blue, he's surrounded by blue. His icon is surrounded by blue, means I'm controlling him. When you have multiple people in your settlement, when you come into the menu, you're going to be able to control all. They're all going to be represented there. So if I had more people, their faces would all be there, right? And whoever I'm controlling will be blue. The other people in the camp that you're not controlling will be like an orangey type color around them. But whoever you're controlling is blue. Now, if I press view, right, it's going to bring me back to this screen that shows me my thirst, hunger, sleep deprivation, my stats, and all that good stuff. Okay? Lets you know that you're in a car. Here's your quest log. Right now, they just want us to find a good settlement, find a fire, all that good stuff. And then log is going to tell you, it keeps track of all your conversations that you had. So if you go to a trader, if you're talking with your crew, whatever, any conversations you had, you can check the log, and the log is going to give you a breakdown of all the conversations you had. It's going to tell you any system notes that came up. Oh, you could now craft this thing or whatever. All that stuff is going to be there. You can also filter it. So as you get more people, you can filter it to see just from that one character's viewpoint or from the log from your whole settlement. Those are just little things to look for. So again, we can choose which side we want to come out from. Sneaking is kind of weird, but this is your sneak bar, that little tree above your head. And as long as the tree bar is filled in, we're hidden. As the tree bar turns white, that means you're being revealed. It's kind of confusing. It seems kind of out of place, and I get why some people don't like it. But that's how this works, okay? You can run, but again, like I said, you don't really want to run. See how much noise I'm making? Right? They're going to hear that. right? Raiders can hear that. Everyone can hear that, right? So you wanna, you don't really want to run too much, right? So now we know that there's a settlement here, and as you can see on the mini map, see that gray arrow? That's the marker that I put. So I know that I can head this way and I can get to there, right? So we know there's a settlement somewhere over there, so let's do that. You typically want to get to a settlement first, because you want to at least have some place that has a fire. You want to, you know, touch base. That's what I'm thinking when I start a new playthrough. I want to have a friendly place that I can either lure zombies to. Chances are these guys have weapons, right? Again, they have a trader. So these are all things I'm thinking about, right? So we have a zombie here. If you look on the mini map, you can see that there's a green X. So the zombies are going to be represented on the map based on the type of strain they are, right? So we have different strains. We have green strains, we have blue strains, we have red strains, and we have white strains. So this is an infected green strain. Now they're an X right now on the map because this infected zombie is not dead. You think that they're dead because it's an X, but this zombie's not dead. The X is really just telling me that the zombie's lying down. Now the zombie could be dead because when they're dead, it's gonna be an X as well. So, but all that's really telling you is that this zombie is lying down. Okay? Do not assume an X means the zombie is dead unless you killed that zombie. Okay? Really, the zombie is just sleeping. Okay? So, again, the zombies are going to be, the infected are going to be represented by, on the map by the color that they are. So a green strain will be green on the map, right? The X means that he's sleeping or he's lying down. If this zombie wasn't lying down, there would be a circle, right? There wouldn't be an X. If this zombie was walking around, he would be a circle, right? So I've seen him. So now, see, once you see something, so this is how it works. The fog of war. The fog of war is this circle here. But once I have gone somewhere, then we get the, see? I can still sort of see it, right? And now look, I still know what happened in that car. If I had left something in this pickup, I would see what's in this pickup. It's not gonna go anywhere, right? So keep that in mind. When you stash something, you can go back for it later. You know what I mean? If you're over encumbered or whatever, put something down. You can always come back to it. Put a marker. Okay, I need to go back to this car. I left something there. All right, so keep that in mind. So now let's look at this zombie. First thing you want to do is you want to equip. You should already have a weapon equipped, but I'm going to equip my knife, right? You can equip anything that you have in your inventory, right? Easily, quickly, up and down on the directional pad for Xbox. Super easy, right? Let's equip the knife, and boom, right? So now I just want to show you guys that this zombie is sleeping. Now, look at the difference. Now we have a zombie that's not sleeping. Okay? So see how he's represented? This is what zombies look like, right? So they're both green strain zombies. They're both alive, but this guy is sleeping. I can sneak up on him. I can assassinate him. Whatever, right? This guy, he's alert. He's going to be able to spot me. I got to be conscious of him. So that's the difference between the two icons right there. Okay, so now see. Now, because we have this, and I'm pausing, okay? I'm pausing. So now, because we have the radio and everything's good, we now know the game is just told us we've just got to Colin Village. See here? So we've just reached Colin Village. This area here. We don't know exactly where, but we know that we're in the area of Colin Village. And now because we have the radio, it's telling us that Colin Village is infected by green strains. Right? So now it's telling us we're going to find green strain zombies in Colin Village. Now here again, the beauty of the radio. We see that there's an infected red strain, right, cluster moving here. Right? So we're just getting clues to the map right now. We know that there's raiders moving here. Maybe these guys will kill them. Maybe these guys will kill them. Who knows? We'll see. right? Sometimes even friendly camps. People will beef inside of a friendly camp. Like, crazy things happen in this game. It's awesome. So we're already seeing now. Let's go. So just things to what we want to look out for, okay? We could pick up snow. Snow you can use as you can have fun with your team and have snowball fights, little things like that. You could also use snow to craft a snowman. Things like that. Fun little things like that in the game. So I'm going to try to show you guys what assassinating is like. So there, that's what assassinating is like. I just did that to show you guys. You can sneak up on zombies and assassinate them. Now this is what aiming is like. This is what I mean about having 1 point. See how I can aim? So I can aim where I want to hit the zombie. If I don't have 1 slot in firearms, archery, or anything like that, you can't aim. You can't aim. Right? You can't aim. You can only hit them in the center mass. Right? So you want to be able to aim. So you want 1 star. You want to hit the legs. You want to dodge. You want to let them get close and dodge. Let them jump, hopefully. Okay, this is what happens if you get bitten. So I want to show you guys that, right? So I got bitten by a green strain. The bottom bar underneath is going to show you. So see what I mean about them coming? More zombies are going to come as they hear you. This is why stamina is important. The more stamina I use, eventually I go into adrenaline. Once you have adrenaline, that means you can't do anything. Okay? Now blood loss is creeping up. So we'll show you guys how to deal with that as well. Now a smart thing for me to do here is to head to the camp. So I'll show you guys what happens. So if you find yourself being overwhelmed, remember you can pause the game at any point, right? Now I know that there's a camp here. So if I run towards the camp, these guys are going to kill these zombies, right? So that would be a smart thing to do. Now here's an example of the log. Everything that my guy says or anything that someone else says to you, is gonna keep track on the log, okay? Now I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the camp before I die. Do I have any Okay, so here we go. I can rip this up. So in Okay, so there we go. So there's our bar. Whenever you get infected, that bar is gonna give you. Now, here's what I'm talking about with Constitution. Let's look at our Constitution. My Constitution went down by 1 star because I just got bitten unconscious, right? Now, I'm no longer infected. See? I'm no longer infected. Right? Now, because I was heading towards that camp, see what happened here, guys? I was heading towards the camp. I died somewhere here. You can tell because this is how far I got. Right? I died. The trader was here. This is where I was headed. Right? But the trader actually belonged to the camp over here. Right? So let's put a marker. Right? This is where the actual camp is. The traders will roam around in the game. Now this trader could actually be a trader from this camp, or he could be a roaming trader. I don't know. Because I haven't spoken to anyone, see how it says unknown? I don't even know the name of this camp. I don't know the name of the people. I actually have to go talk to people. Ask them their name. Ask them what's going on. Tell them who I am, why I'm here, for all that to matter. For me to know what's going on. Okay? Now, here's some refugees. Let me see if I could possibly recruit them. So now what happened is, sorry, I wanted to explain to you guys what just happened. Why am I here? I died somewhere over here, right? What happened was the trader who was up here stumbled across my body and they revived me and brought me back to the camp. That's why my character is now here. That only happens because I had an extra star in Constitution. If I only had 1 star in Constitution and those zombies killed me, I would just be dead and it would just be game over. Because I didn't have an extra star in Constitution for someone to revive me. You see what I'm saying? Now, This is what I'm talking about. I saw this Humvee. I never went in the Humvee, but I know that it's there. See what I mean? So once you go somewhere, you'll still see it. All right? You'll still see it. All right? So now, so now we're in camp. This is a foreign people's camp. They're going to question me because I'm here. What you want to do when you come to a camp is you want to talk to people. You want to get everyone's name. And I'm going to show you why you want. I'm thanking them for saving me. I thought it was a goner. Yeah, remember there's a toll to pay. Some camps are going to be friendly. Some camps are going to be mean. Some of them are going to, you know, force you to work for them. Whatever. And you can respond however you want. I can attack this guy if I want. I can attack this camp. Whatever. I can leave this camp. I can whatever. So this is Lucas's front. I know that because I just spoke to someone. I can ask him his name, right? Now he gives me his name. He's Lucas Berg. Is he the leader? You know, we could ask him all. How are you feeling? I can ask him to join me, which doesn't make sense because I have nothing. He'll probably take offense to that, right? Clearly he's selling chickens. We can trade supplies with him. We can see what he has. Let's ask him how he's feeling. You want to talk to people to build rapport with them. To make them, you know, like you, and you know, you can get more loot for them. You can do whatever. This is what I mean about X's. My character took 3 wounds. So as you can see on my avatar, on my character model, it shows the X's will show where you took the wounds. Now, I was bandaged up. So if you see underneath my name, you see blood loss, which is like your health. Underneath blood loss, you see a little bar. That's the bandage. That means someone bandaged me, right? So that's just what you see there. Fatigue is your stamina. I'm gonna ask this person their name as well too. I like to ask everyone their name, and I'm gonna show you why. When you go to the map, everyone, like I said, a friendly person is gonna be displayed in yellow, right? Now, Lucas's camp. I know that this camp is Lucas's front, but this guy's still a stranger to me. These people are all strangers to me, see? But here, Lucas, when I go to the map, he now has a name. Now, when Lucas goes anywhere on the map, I'm gonna see him. Let's say Lucas goes down here to talk to another settlement. When I check the map, I'm actually gonna see Lucas down there, provided I spoke to him and provided I got his name. If I don't talk to him and I don't get his name, he's roaming the map, but I don't see him. Okay? So it's good to talk to people because a good way to keep tabs on where everyone is on the map is by speaking to them. And as long as you speak to them, you'll be able to see where they are on the map. Okay? Same thing with your, if you're a multiplayer, you'll be able to see where your friends are. Okay? So, but you want to talk to NPCs just because now, let's say they leave here and they go talk to someone else. It sort of gives you a hint, like, oh, he went down here. Why did he go down here? Maybe there's another camp down there. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing to just keep tabs on others. Another reason why it's good is because, let's say Lucas or Caitlin. Let's say Caitlin, zombies attack them, right? And let's say Caitlin gets bitten by a zombie, by a blue strain zombie, right? And now Caitlin is walking around infected. Because we know Caitlin, we will see her. And we will know she's infected. And we could avoid her. But if I didn't talk to Caitlin and she gets bitten, then she would just be a character roaming on the map and I'm walking around and she's just a random zombie. But because I know who she is, if per se she gets infected, then I know and I'll see it. It'll be represented on the map. So it's a good idea to talk to people just so that you can keep tabs on where they are. Your character also needs to use the washroom, guys. Keep that in mind. Now, if there's no washroom around, your character will just go to a bush and relieve themselves in a bush, right? But if there are washrooms around, you can go in and you can use it. Now, this isn't my community, so I can't use their building. But I can use their water. So I can drink from their well if I had a container. So this is what I'm talking about here. They just killed the zombies that were outside this gate. It's a good idea to lure zombies. You could also lure rival scavengers. And now that they've killed the zombie, I can scavenge it. Okay? So this is what I want to show you. If I take, he's going to grab the gold and the arrows, right? I want to show you the difference between this. Well, this guy's talking to me. Let's see what you got. I'm just going to trade with them so that they don't think I'm a... right now, they think I'm a stranger still, so I gotta tell them that I'm here to trade, so they don't attack me. See the song? See how the song is This is what I mean about pay attention to the music. If you hear this music, it tells you that something bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys aren't really friendly. Another way that I know that these guys aren't friendly is look at their name. Their name is called Lucas's Front, and in brackets they're looters. So they're bad. At some point, these guys are either gonna try to take my gold from me. They're gonna do something. They're gonna do something. So it's in my best interest to find another camp, because this is not a friendly camp. You see what I'm saying? And I know that because the music that's playing, from how they're talking to me. These are all things, you know, that are giving me hints. Another thing that you need to know about containers. Containers, you can always pour stuff. If you have multiple containers, you can pour stuff into one container, pour stuff into another container, consolidate items into one container. You can also set criteria. So I can, like this jerry can has gasoline, but I can set the criteria so that this jerry can maybe has water, and we only put water in it, or we put wine in it, or whatever. So different containers, storage, things like that, you can set the criteria so that you can only put certain things in it. In fact, let me load a different game to show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's load this one here. So see what I mean? When you load a game, you'll always have the option for it to be invite only, whatever, right? So so this is what I'm talking about here. This is actually good. So for instance, look at my backpack. You have the backpack that gives you stealth. You have the hat that's giving me stealth. I have the camo pants that's giving me stealth. So now this is what I mean. I have a +3 stealth. It's represented by a green star because I'm getting those 3 stars from Apparel. I have a green star in medicine. I'm getting that from a skill book. And here's an example of a skill book. This medical book is giving me a +1 in medicine. So now when I heal people, if someone in my team is hurt, it's in the best interest that I apply the bandage, because they're gonna get more from that bandage. They're gonna heal faster because my medical skill is 2, and then my little blue bar underneath medicine is gonna move up. I'm gonna get better at doing that. It's in my best interest to craft bandages with this character, right? Because it's all gonna move up. The more you build stuff, your bar is gonna move up. The more I use my bow and arrow, the more that bar is gonna move up, right? So that's just an idea. Again, with containers, you can set the content policy, so I can choose water goes in here. Maybe I want something else to go in here, whether I want gasoline, wine, vodka, vegetable oil. So you can set the parameters for any of the containers. Store anything, any container, you can set the parameters for that. What else would I want to show you from this here? So this is an example of the map. Once you open it up a little bit. So here we go. So here we see, as you can see here, I have a looters. They're hostile. The angry eagles. Hostile camp. The dirty snakes. Looters. Hostile camp. So pay attention. Here we have Sadie's cartel. They're yellow. They're yellow because they're a friendly camp. Here we have the well-regulated gorillas. I know everyone here. I talk to them. So now I can see, it doesn't matter where they go on their map. They're not going to just stay there. They're going to roam the map just like me. And I can always keep track of where Lauren is because I've spoken to her. I'm her friend. You know what I mean? Now, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Kimberly is a roaming trader. I always see her because I've made contact with her. I've spoken with her. I have a relationship with her. It doesn't matter where Kimberly is on the map. I'm going to see her. Savage Eagles, looters. Doesn't matter where they are. I see them on the map. So that's why it's good to talk to people, because you're going to see them wherever they go on the map. And that sort of gives me a hint that there's something here. Why is Kimberly and why are Jussie always going? You'll see they'll go to certain spots, and it'll give you hints like, oh, there must be something over here. Why are they going there? You know what I mean? What else do I want to show you? You'll also see as you get to certain areas, this means that this area has deer. Venison is available here. Good hunting spot. Good spot to put traps down, right? Other things now you'll see, here's a camp, but I haven't spoken to them, so I don't see the people. I know there's a camp there, you know what I mean? But I haven't spoken to them. Sadie, I've spoken to everyone. The crown means that that person is the head of the camp. Trader will be the money bag. So here's examples of other things you'll see once you have the radio. These are different factions. They're represented in different ways, depending on what type of faction they are. Trader, a looter, whatever. All going to be represented here. And I only know this because I have a radio, right? I have a radio at my camp. Here's my camp. Where's my camp? So here we go. Interact pack. This is my camp. I can see everything in my inventory from the map screen. This is everything in this tent. This is everything that I have in this house. These are the example of the books I'm talking about. You can give these detective novels, these sci-fi novels that you find in the world, and you can give them as gifts to people. You can give wine as gifts to people. You can give a lot of things as gifts to people, and they will, they'll like it and they'll like you. Here's a combat helmet. There's different armor, lightweight combat helmet. There's a lot of things that you could find in the game. You could find armor. Here's, the medium-sized backpack. There's the camo cowboy hat, which gives you the stealth as well as sight. So there's a lot of things in this game. It's a very intense game. There's a lot of aspects to the game. You can directly drink out of open water, and this is not going to hurt you. The water's not infected. Feel free to drink out of open water. And again, if you have a container, any container, you can take to like I said, a jerry can. I could take the jerry can to that river and fill the jerry can up with water if I want. Okay? Empty bottles of liquor can be used as Molotov cocktails. Everything has a use. Make sure you're not just throwing things away. Chicken wire, cement, stone. You can build wells. You can build fences. You can build all these things. So make sure that you're not just randomly throwing things away. This is an example of what I mean about flint. Let's see if I can find a flint. Use the map. And you could find things like this can be disassembled and you take the steel. But use the map to your advantage. Let me see if I can find flint. If you can't find matches, here we go. Boulder, flint, right there, flint. I don't gotta buy flint. Flint is available on the map. All right, guys? So keep things in mind. Like my base is here. I have 27 cement and 20 wood here. There's no point in me carrying that to my base. I can keep it here. It's not gonna move. When you put stuff in places, it doesn't move. So as you can see, I use the buildings around me as essentially storage places. You know what I mean? So that I can keep the bulk heavy things, right? In it. But see here, this sealed container, this basin. Here's a bucket. That bucket can be used to make a rabbit trap. This sealed container, I can put vegetable oil. I can put gasoline. I can put whatever I want in there and carry that around, right? So use all these things you're going to have to use to... There's my rabbit trap. I have a rabbit trap here. It's empty right now. I can keep tabs on it. So use your map to your full advantage. The map is one of the most powerful things, especially if you have a radio. Here is a camp. I know they're here, but I don't know the people, right? I know some of them, right? as you can see, there's some people from another camp traveling to this camp. So keep an eye on the map. You can find out where things are just from looking at the map, and monitor where NPCs are going. Okay? Is there anything else I want to show with this save here? Again, as you go through, you do different quests, as you build different things, the game is going to keep giving you more things. Just because you're in Sandbox doesn't mean there's not quests. You're going to get quests. There's always going to be quests. You're going to get quests from the different NPCs you come across. As you recruit people, the people in your settlement are going to have quests for you as well, too. So, there's still quests in Sandbox mode. Just because... story mode is not restricted to just story mode alone, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's load up this save. I'll show you what I mean. I gotta finish this up soon, guys. So for instance here, quests. So I have a community in this save. So this is what I mean. So in this community I have 4 people. I'm controlling BioBooster, so he's blue. If I switch to Nicholas will now be blue. If I switch to Amelia is now blue. So that just lets me know who I'm controlling. If I click view, I can see Amelia's thirst, hunger, and her sleep. We can see her stats, right? She has 4 in cooking, really 3, but she gets an extra stat because I've given her a cooking book. See what I'm saying? Now, Amelia's constitution is nothing. She has no stars in constitution. So if Amelia was to get bitten by a zombie, or get hit unconscious in a fight, that's it. Amelia's done. Because she doesn't have a star in Constitution to save her. Okay? Now, what else would I want to show you here? I spoke about giving presents. So now, Amelia, when she first came to my camp, she said that she liked my style, and she thinks that me and her have a connection. So I'm trying to start a relationship with her, and I start building a relationship with her, and I'm constantly talking to her and making sure she's okay, checking in on her. And another thing you could do is you can give people gifts. So I've given her gifts. When you give someone a gift, it will be represented as a gift. You'll see a little gift icon in their inventory. Right? Now, when Amelia reads this book, at some point, she's going to read the book. Yeah, you'll see she'll read the book. Or maybe you'll be around. Maybe you won't be around. Maybe you'll be hunting and she's back at camp reading the book. But she'll say something, and she'll thank you for the book or whatever. And you can give them multiple gifts. Like, for instance, this is a detective novel written by Denny Dickerson. Now, if I go around and I give her, as you can see here, if I go to my camp. Oh, this is a different camp. Ah, jeez. But if I find other books written by Denny Dickerson and I can give her the full set of detective novels, and she'll really like that. You know what I mean? There's sci-fi novels. There's a whole bunch of different types of books you can collect, but you could use those as a way to boost your team's morale. If you're struggling, like if you see someone that really wants to leave or whatever, give them some books. That's going to make them. Now, keep in mind, there's also jealousy. So, for instance, Jonathan here. Jonathan's part of my team. Jonathan's deadly. Look at Jonathan's stats. Jonathan was a raider. Jonathan actually attacked us, but we killed Jonathan's 2 friends, and then Jonathan gave up. And then Amelia went up to him, and Amelia said, "You're working for us now." And because of that, Jonathan and Amelia have been beefing ever since. So you got to be conscious of that. They can, you got to keep their relationships in check. Jonathan gets jealous because I've given Amelia so many gifts. You know what I mean? So these are all the inner conflicts and the interpersonal things that, the game doesn't tell you that you need to manage just as much as you need to manage your food, just as much as you need to manage your hunger and your thirst and your sleep. And that's what makes this game so amazing, is because there's all these different dynamics that you sort of have to pay attention to. Food, you want to pay attention to the constitution. See, the venison is giving me 8 points of constitution as opposed to the bag of chips, which is going to take away 3 points of constitution. So yes, if I'm hungry and I have no other food options, yeah, I'll eat the bag of chips. But really, I don't want to eat the bag of chips because the bag of chips is going to take away from my constitution. My little blue bar at the bottom of constitution, when I eat these chips, two things are going to happen. My hunger is going to go down, yes. But my constitution, my survivability is also going to go down by 3 points. As opposed to if I eat this venison steak, my constitution is going to go up. So let's do it. I ate it. My constitution went up, right? My hunger went down, but my constitution went up. Now, if I eat this bag of chips, my constitution, it just went up 8. It's going to go down 3. So really, it's 5. See how my constitution just went down? Because the bag of chips, though it sustained me hunger-wise, right? It's a stale old bag of chips. So it actually made me a little sick. While the venison is fresh meat, I just cooked that myself. It's going to sustain me a lot longer. So those are the things you got to look at. It's the difference between a pop and a bottle of water. If I drink this bottle of water right now, as you can see, he drinks it. My thirst went down. Now, let's say it was a bottle of pop. The bottle of pop would be just like the bag of chips. It would be stale. It's an old can of pop that's been sitting for a long time. The can of pop is actually going to lower my constitution, even though it's quenching my thirst, right? So you have to manage that, okay? Certain foods are going to, yeah, it's going to sustain you, but it's going to actually take away from your survivability. You're going to always, obviously, if you're in a jam, you eat what you can. But if you can, you always want to prepare food, cook food. You always want to eat the thing that's not stale, so that you get better constitution out of it, okay? You know, melee weapons, you can craft and alter them. You can add nails to them. A baseball bat can become a spiked baseball bat. Again, you can get steel and different iron, different materials. You guys saw cement. And you can craft different things with it. So just keep an eye on it for that. All matters, though, depending on your skill set, right? You know what I mean? How good is your guy at doing that thing, right? How good is your character at doing that thing? And that's going to determine how good you are at doing that thing. Here's an example of what I mean about restricting what goes into a container. So I've told them all that in this container, the only thing I want in this container is stew. So they'll only ever put stew into that container, right? Let's see if there's another example I got. So for instance here, in this container, in this chest is my food chest. So in this chest, this is what I'm talking about. A soda pop is going to take away from your constitution. This container only holds water. So they will only ever put water in here. This container, they can put whatever, because I haven't restricted it, right? This container, I only want vegetable oil. So they can put vegetable oil in this container. Now I can pour, let's say I come across a vegetable oil container. I can then walk into that container, into that chest, and pour it in to fill up that. Let me do it, because I don't know if I'm explaining that part right. So here we go. So here's this chest, right? So here we go. I can take this and I can pour it into here. Or I can pour it into this one. See what I'm saying? So let's do that again. Let's scavenge. Okay, so look. I can pour. I'm going to pour this one because it's thicker. Pour into this one. Boom. I can pour into. Boom. See what I mean? So you can do that. Like this, I have a basin full of water. These are things you want to do. Now here's a can of pop I wanted to show you guys. So see how it's gone flat and tastes a bit weird, but it'll keep you awake. So make sure you're paying attention. Same thing here. Canned food, it's gonna be minus 10 constitution. So yes, you're gonna eat this and it's gonna sustain a character who's hungry, right? But you're gonna lose 10 constitution, right? So keep that in mind. Food has a, not really an expiry date, but food has a freshness factor. And the more fresh a food is, the more beneficial it's gonna be for you. And if it's not fresh and if it's stale, it's actually gonna be a detriment to you, right? Cooked rabbit, +8. Cooked venison, +8. Canned food that's been sitting around, -10. Bag of chips, -3. Okay, so keep that in mind. What else can I show you guys? Again, farming is huge. You can plant seeds, you can farm. As you can see, the water container, I've selected that they will only put water in it. Why is that important? That's important because your other characters, as you play, they're going to be independent, right? You can tell them to follow you, or you can tell them to stop following you, whatever, right? You can trade supplies with them. You can ask them how they're doing. You want to keep doing this. You want to see, how are things going? Things are going great. Nicholas he's fine. He's loving being at the camp, right? If you don't do that, you'll miss out, right? Because maybe they're complaining about something and you could stop that or you could fix that, but you weren't paying attention. Here's an example of armor. Bulletproof vests are in the game. You have leg armor, different things like that, right? So Nicholas is my tank, right? So these are all different things that you don't really know you could find in the game, but they are definitely available in the game. But when you don't, now I don't control Nicholas. So Nicholas is going to do whatever he wants. See, Nicholas is going to do whatever he wants to do, right? I could actually set Nicholas up. I can assign a role to Nicholas. I can make him, you know, the construction guy. And I could lay out, this is command mode. You can go into command mode. And I could maybe lay out a fence and tell Nicholas to build the fence. I could tell Amelia to start cooking some food. And see, I could set the role as cook, right? Or set a role as chef, right? So there's different roles. You could set someone as a miner, you know, as hey, give them an axe, and you know, give them a tree, an area with trees, and tell them go to this area and go chop trees down. And he'll go chop trees, and he'll bring the trees back. You know what I mean? So we have a dead raider here. So actually, let's go to the dead raider. So those, keep that in mind. You can actually assign roles for your people so that you're not micromanaging everything. Okay? Now let's check this dead raider out. I want to show you guys something else before we finish up. Now, you have the option to pick people up. You can, if I shoot a deer, I can pick the deer up and bring it back to camp. If I kill someone, I can pick the person up. Why do we want to pick people up though? Why? Like, I understand why you pick up a deer, but why would we want to pick up people? Or zombies, for instance. Or skin. Now, again, you can skin a raider, but there's no real benefit to skinning a human being that's uninfected that I'm aware of. Maybe it's like DayZ, you can eat people, I don't know. But you want to skin a zombie, you want to skin a couple zombies because you're gonna get their skin, and you could use the skin as a grenade, as a distraction grenade, right? So you want to get, do I have any here? Yeah, here you see rancid human meat, right? So you could use that and throw it at them. And I believe there's other things you can craft. So for instance, I could take my knife, and if I skin an infected, I could then merge the rancid human meat with the knife, and now I have an infected knife. I could do that with an axe, with most melee weapons, and then you can now have a more lethal version of that weapon. Just like you can add nails to a baseball bat, you can add an infection to your melee weapon to make it more dangerous to at least the human enemies that you're going to come across. Okay, so keep that in mind. But what I want to show you is you have the option to pick up people, drop them, whatever, right? and you can then stash them. So let me find somewhere to stash this guy. Hold on. I don't want to put him. Well, I can put him in my house. That's fine. It actually serves the purpose I want. So you can take people and you can stash them. See? I have the option to stash him inside the house. I can stash him inside this tent. And now he's there. Right? He's in the tent. Right? I can see him in the tent. Now, why does this matter? And why would you ever want to do this? The reason being is when you kill, let's say I was coming into town and I killed like 4 or 5 zombies on the road. Or wherever. You killed 4 or 5 zombies in the bush or whatever. Here we have a white strain, right? No, this is what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is perfect. Mr. Cotton here was not infected before. When I first met him, he was part of this camp. Okay? And in his travels, he got infected by a white strain zombie. Now, because I know him, and me and him were friends, and I traded with him, and we fought zombies together, I always know where he is. And even though he got infected, I still know where he is. So now I know that I have no business. He's in a black area. I shouldn't know where he is. I shouldn't even know that he's there. But I know that because I spoke to him. And that's why, another reason why talking to him is so important. Now, this is what I mean about quests. My community, Jonathan here, he has a quest. He wants me to find a katana. Sorry, Nicholas. Nicholas Silva wants me to go with him to the town that he came from and search for an antique katana. That's the weapon he wants to use, right? So that's this here. He wants me to go here. So even though I'm in Sandbox, as I recruit different people, as I interact with different people, we're gonna get different quests. So again, that's why I love Sandbox, because Sandbox is pretty much story mode, because you still have stories unfolding as well in Sandbox. So keep that in mind. What else did I want to show you quickly here? So now that I've stashed this person or anything in here, let's say a day or two goes by in game, or let's say I save the game and I reload the game, they're not going to still be in here. This stranger is going to despawn. If I put infected zombies in, they're going to despawn. So that's just so you know. Whatever you put, when you stash someone in a car or whatever, they won't stay there forever. But if you put a piece of loot, if I put a piece of loot in this tent, it will never despawn. If I put a bit of food, whatever, it won't despawn. But if you put a person or whatever, it'll despawn. Now, if I put a deer in that tent, it won't despawn. Unless I didn't, like, if you kill a deer, you skin it, you get the meat. Now, the remaining deer, that will despawn. But if I put the meat that I skinned, that won't despawn, if that makes sense, okay? And why do we want to do that? The reason we want to do that is because the zombies are attracted to dead bodies. So if I leave dead zombies all littered around, what's going to happen is Mr. Cotton here is going to sniff it out. And they're going to, waves like this horde, they're going to start slowly moving towards me. So what you want to do is when you kill zombies, if you can, stash them away. You can stash them in cars. You can stash them in buildings. You can stash them anywhere. And they won't stay there. Like, I had like 6 zombies in this car. And when you reload, they'll despawn. But the loot though, like see here, this loot in this ice machine will never despawn, right? That won't despawn. I can go put something in the ice machine and it won't despawn, right? But you put organic things like bodies, that will despawn. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And I think that's it. A UI to check their morales. Truly, sorry, I'm not sure how long ago you asked that. I'm not sure if you're still here. There is no UI to check their morale. the one thing that you can do to check their morale is to actually physically walk up to them and ask them how they're doing. Now, Nicholas is inside the tent. You can force any character out of the tent. This goes as well for camps. If you're at a camp and you want to talk to whoever, if I want to talk to someone and she's inside this wooden barn, I want to talk to Erica. You go to the wooden barn, you click it, and Erica will come out of the barn. You can just choose who you want to talk to, and they'll come out of the barn. But the best way to check how their morale is doing is to ask them, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, Nicholas? You haven't always built enough living quarters to keep pace with the number of people in the group, BioBooster, but I appreciate your generosity with Amelia. You've improved the biocamp with some cool new stuff. Things are going great, and that's how you know. I know things are going great with Nicholas. Now let's go talk to Jonathan, because Jonathan's the one who I worry about. Jonathan be complaining about everything. So let's do the same thing with Jonathan. What's up? Right? Now see, Thing just went to sleep. Nicholas just went to sleep by himself. I didn't have to tell him to go to sleep. Nicholas has food in his inventory, right? So I don't have to tell. I always keep water and food on them, right? So Nicholas is gonna eat this bag of chips when he's ready. Nicholas is gonna drink the water when he's ready. Nicholas is gonna eat this venison when he's ready. I don't have to tell Nicholas to do that. If Nicholas gets hurt, I have bandages on Nicholas. Nicholas will heal himself. He has antigens. He'll heal himself. I don't have to tell Nicholas to do anything, right? Nicholas is gonna keep tabs on his own sleep deprivation. He sees that he's at notch 1, so he went to sleep. When he wakes up, he'll eat something. I don't gotta tell Nicholas to do anything. I can actually assign Nicholas a role, make him my farmer. I can, I can go into command mode, tell him to build a fence, and when he wakes up, he'll build a fence. And then he will go to this storage and he'll get wood out of this storage because there's wood here. Or, you know what I mean? He'll go get the axe. He'll go get whatever he needs. If he runs out of food, he's gonna go to my food chest and he's gonna grab a can of whatever. I don't really have to micromanage him, right? Now, I suggest you micromanage because sometimes they do some crazy things. And once combat starts, you won't be able to pause the game. So keep that in mind, right? So now let's come out of combat mode and let's ask Jonathan how he's doing. Because I think Jonathan's going to say he's not doing good. What's up, Jonathan? What's up is a good way just to get a conversation sparked. Nicholas is okay. But see, he don't like... See how he's a hater? So now, after the what's up, you want to follow up with the how are you feeling? Now he's going to really tell me. See, him and Nicholas have been hanging. They had a snowball fight together. I gave them liquor, so what I did was I gave them both wine. And then they went off and they drank together and they had a snowball fight. And now they're bonding. That's great for me. Great for morale. Life is doing good. Right? So now I know. Now I can ask him, what's your opinion of me? This is how you suss out how they're feeling. I appreciate your generosity. You've been a useful source of supplies for Nicole. You killed an infected. Yeah, I did a lot. I did a lot. Right? So this is how you sort of figure out what's going on with your team. You just talk to everyone. You sit by the fire. When you're sitting by the fire and warming up, talk to everyone. When you guys are out, at the trader, talk to them. You know what I mean? And another thing about talking to is, I can't just use my character to talk to people. I also have to use, for instance, I know Jonathan and Amelia are beefing. So now, what I would do is, I would take Jonathan and have him talk to Amelia, right? Another thing would be, give Jonathan a gift and have him give that gift to Amelia so that it repairs their relationship. You see what I'm saying? So don't just use your character to manage the relationships. Use the other characters as well and make sure that the other characters are talking to each other, right? So that the whole group morale is being raised and you don't have one character feeling slighted or one character hating another character, because that will happen. They will legit, like Jonathan will legit, if him and Nicholas was beefing, he would legit call Nicholas out the camp right now and start hitting Nicholas with the spike back. and you'll be like, what the heck's going on? Like, yo, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, they will literally beef, right? So you really have to manage your relationships in camp. So that's the one thing I wanted to show with that. So I hope that's, you know, maybe we'll do another one of these, but that's quickly, you know, some really quick tips that I think about when I'm first starting a survivalist playthrough. And hopefully there was some random information in there that can help you guys start off with your playthroughs as well too. Okay, so I gotta go. Thank you to E-Man, thank you to Envy, thank you to Dr. K, thank you for coming by. You guys are always awesome. Thank you to everyone on YouTube as well who are asking questions and asking for this exact stream to happen. Thank you to Chewy. Hopefully you got your answer. Oh, you did. Okay. Oh, that's awesome, Chewy. Check out my YouTube, BioBoosterGaming. You'll actually see my community and how they started off. And hopefully there's some gameplay there that can help you out as well. Check out the streams. I'm always going to be playing Survivalist. I'm enjoying this game. It's going to be my new State of Decay. And I'm glad that you found a tip. Well, the white strain is the invisible strain. The invisible strain is the white strain, I think, because that's the strain we have no cure for, right? And they sort of they delve into that in the story mode. So if you want more answers, play the story mode, and you sort of see what's been going on the last 10 years and why the zombies are actually still here and why the zombies seem to be getting more powerful. So check that out. But thank you for coming by, man. Thank you, Churi. Hopefully we'll see you again in the bio bunker. So yeah, that's it, guys.